at 10 seconds in, so we're going to go ahead and start our stream. So I didn't do the crafting stream last week because I just felt awful. I still had the binder on, etc. I've now been a week without it. It's pretty awesome. I'm back to wearing regular shirts like I mentioned. So what we're doing tonight is cross-stitch, because as I mentioned, I am apparently a masochist and have decided to do like Christmas ornaments for a whole bunch of people. I have gotten 3 done so far. Let me get those. So that one? Nope, wrong way. That's the one I showed you on my gaming stream. This is the one I was working on during that gaming stream. And I've also done this one. I'm hoping to get 2 smaller ones done today. Also, I was trying to figure out why my camera is refusing to pick up colors. It just is. The shirt I'm wearing at the moment is actually red, but for some odd reason my camera's not wanting to pick up colors. And I decided, you know what, I'm done messing with it. So, thankfully, at least one of the items I'm going to be cross-stitching today is primarily black, so shouldn't be a big deal. It is going to be from this book, Mega Mini Cross Stitch. I found this on sale at a yarn store that was going out of business, and I just happened to have a whole bunch of cross-stitch bits. Sorry, I dropped something on the floor and I'm trying to get to it. You know, that would be smart. Use the reachy thingy. Technically it's a back scratcher, but it works as a reachy thingy. So, okay. There we go. Alright. Random cat fuzz, because of course there's random cat fuzz. Why wouldn't there be? We have lady. Okay. The ornament hoops I'm going to be working into are actually much smaller than the ones I've been using. These are tiny. You can see comparative, much smaller. And these ones, I'm lowering my voice here because these are going to be presents for my nephew, or for my sons, who I don't want to know that I'm making these for them. These particular hoops came from kits from Dollar Tree. So, very simple, very easy to get. They came with plans for a item that was black with roses on it, so I had some pre-cut lengths of the thread. They also came with the most ridiculously tiny, I'm trying to show you how best to, no, wrong direction, there we go, tiny needles that are plastic, and sadly my metal needle is actually too thick to go through this material, which is also plastic. Okay. With cross-stitch, in this case, I'm doing the normal thing, which is you take your embroidery floss, you separate out just 2 strands, and you use those as your thread. If you try to do it with the full, thick embroidery floss, it tends to be thick enough it actually can't go through. So, okay. Sorry, I have to get to the right page for the one I'm working on. It's going to be a very simple thing. This is for my son that really adores kitties, so he is getting a black cat. Because one of our kitties is a black cat, and he loves her very much. Okay, so how tall? Give me just a sec, I have to count something. Counting is always fun. $63 through 65, okay. I want... that one, E. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 squares tall. And this is... okay, lots more than 10. So, center is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so centerpiece on this. Let's see. Sorry, one of the hardest parts is figuring out how to center stuff. So that's generally what takes me the longest part. That's handy. We have a tiny little bump on what is the center. Okay, so to start cross stitch, you put your thread through from the back to the front. Then you pull your thread all the way through, and then you're going to take your tiny little needle and go between the two strands. This can be difficult, especially if you are, like I said, using a flexible plastic needle, because it doesn't want to go between those two strands. Keeps bending to the side one way or the other. Okay, once you've got it through the two strands, you pull, and oh look, now your thread is firmly affixed. Okay, so next thing is deciding how I want to do this. There are different ways you can. You can either just put all one direction one way and then come back and do the X's the other way, which is what I normally do. Or you can do the X's individually. I think that's what I'm going to do, is doing them individually, one at a time. It's a bit more time consuming, but... oh, no, you don't. It'll make it a little easier on me to get things done as needed. Okay, so that's our first one. So, other news from the world of Mason. As I mentioned, I've gotten the binder off. I am healing up. There are some parts that are still pretty ouchy, but that's to be expected. I mean, I did have a major surgery. We got the new fridge because we had to replace ours because it stopped freezing. We have not been able to get rid of the old fridge yet because we can't get the blasted doors off, and we can't get the doors off to get it through the doorway to take it outside to call bulky waste pickup. So that's a fun challenge we're having to deal with right now. Once we get that figured out, though, things should be, hopefully, smooth sailing from here. Alright. So I think... no, you don't get to do that. Yeah. What is that, though? So we've got a random bit of fluff. Okay. What else? Sunzu, our kitty that had to go to the vet, is doing much better on her new diet. She's not thrilled with it, but oh well. Okay. if she had it her way, she would never have to take her pills. But that's not going to work because she needs them so she can be healthy. She has, however, taken to running the minute she sees me coming with them. Which is no fun for me, makes me very sad, because I don't want my kitty to be scared of me or to be unhappy with me, but she still has to take her medicine. I did have a job interview, but it turned out to be a scam, as I think I mentioned last stream. But c'est la vie, right? Okay. We're just going to go over and do it from this side again. But yeah, like, no kitty wants to take medicine, but when the medicine is for the kitty's betterment, you kind of have to give it to them, just like with kids. You know, no kid wants to take the nasty, icky medicine, but you have to give it to them anyway, because if they're sick, they need it. So one issue I'm having with this particular cross stitch is that the holes are like ridiculously small. And they do not like me putting the needles through them. So I need to go one over and one up. I think that went through the right place. Here's hoping. I have a feeling by the time I'm done, these needles will be so warped and bent they'll just get tossed, and I'll just have to find some proper sewing needles to do this in the future, which is fine. I don't mind that. If I had the proper size needles here at my desk, I'd just use them, but I do not, and I thought I could use the little plastic needles that it's supposed to work with, but we'll see. We shall see. Let's see. Aha, that one I can actually see to get it through. Okay. I did make a fun discovery today at Brahms, which is a semi-local. They are only available in Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, and Missouri, because they are, as I said, semi-local. They're a dairy. They make delicious ice cream, wonderful hamburgers, etc., etc. And they also make what most people really like to drink when they go to Brahms is a cherry limeade. However, I do not actually like limeades or lemonades that much. They're bitter to me because, you know, lime. I love random screaming. Really? 3. Okay. But I don't really like the lime part of it. And so I've always just avoided getting those, even though I really love the cherry. However, today we had the brilliant idea of just asking for a Sprite with the cherry juice added. And they did that, and it is basically a Shirley Temple. Just no pomegranate from the grenadine. So I'm very happy with having found out I can do that. Okay. And we'll probably request those in the future as well. Because, I mean, it's delicious. Okay. Sorry if I keep going quiet, it's because I'm focusing on the task at hand, which is stabbing needles into plastic. Not the easiest task. Good, okay, came out to the right spot. I think next, when I do of these, I will be switching to an actual metal sewing needle because it's going to be so much easier. Okay. Okay. So next one I need to go over one more. The new fridge is doing really well. I'm glad that we've got it in. It is working, and with a tiny bit of maneuvering, we've got things all fitting. We also picked up things to make 36 eggs worth of deviled eggs for the family Christmas, because I got voluntold that, no, you're doing deviled eggs, because I take standard recipes that are, super simple, super easy, and then I adjust them to my tastes, and go figure, they taste really good to others too. My deviled eggs uses a garlic aioli instead of mayonnaise, and I use crumbled bacon in it as well, and of course the smoked paprika that we always use. We don't use the regular paprika because the smoked paprika does something to the chemicals in the peppers that the paprika is made from that make them safe for me to eat. And it's always nice when food is safe for you to eat. So, but yes, it all comes down to, I make a mean deviled egg, and so this year I got voluntold that, yeah, that's what you're doing for Thanksgiving, or for Christmas. So, hold on a sec, I have to count. I did get the pictures that I need to get printed set up for the purpose of being printed. I still have to go and get those printed, and then I have to get them out and get them in frames, but that shouldn't be nearly as hard a task as other things. So that's on the to-do list. I did get the cross stitch that I made for the roommate framed and wrapped. I've still got to wrap some presents. Also need to figure out what I did with my Christmas themed gift tags, or if I need to make some. I need to finish the charm bracelet for my sister-in-law. This is going to be a very tiny kitty. That's okay. I can always add other things to embellish, because there's a pattern in here for kitty cat paws, so I can just ring the whole thing with the kitty cat paws too. Or I can add other kitties to the image. There's going to be some writing that I'm going to stitch in that's going to have my son that this is for, his initials, and then my goodness, words. Oh, I also got my COVID booster today, by the way. It's going to have his initials in the year, because I plan to do maybe not this, but I plan to get him an ornament every year. So same with his twin brother. They're getting old enough now that I realize that I'd like them to have some special things when they do leave home that they can have on their first Christmas tree. And so, having your own personalized ornaments that were made for you by a parent, that's a really good reminder of home for as they get older. I've got some ornaments on my tree that I handmade when my partner and I were just newly married. I've got some ornaments that were made by my mother when I was younger, or at least were always on our tree when I was growing up. Because Mom, once all of the kids were out of the house, went, I've always wanted hand-blown glass ornaments, and I finally don't have to worry about my kids knocking them off the tree, so I'm going to divest myself of most of the ornaments that were on the tree when my kids were growing up. I will parcel them out to my kids so that they can have them on their trees, and that way I can get just the hand-blown glass ornaments for my own home tree, and that'll just be a thing now. So that's what she did, which is nice. She's got this absolutely gorgeous tree with all of the hand-blown glass ornaments. It looks beautiful. And we kids each got ornaments that were very special to us growing up, including some that my mom had as for hallmarks, like, births or first Christmas, things like that. She had hand-blown eggs and then painted those eggs, and so she sent those to, like, I got the ones for when I was born and my first Christmas, things like that. My brother got the ones for him, etc. I don't put them on my tree because I have kids who are very clumsy, very prone to knocking things down, knocking things over, and it would be an awful thing to... Hold on, I have a knot. How did that happen? There, I think that's our culprit right there. Nope. Well, it was the culprit, but it's not going to be fixed by pulling that out. So, one moment. I'm still working on this. Okay. There we go. So that's what we've got so far. Doesn't look like much. It's going to get better. So, 2... we can go here. Oops. And here. The real fun, I'm thinking, as I work on this, is that because this is not a metal needle, it's going to make weaving in ends really awful, and I might have to go over and do some cross-stitching into the spaces between, just to cover up those ends that are going to be really shakily woven in. But we shall see. So far we have kitty tail and kitty most of the way up to the shoulders. I've still got to do the shoulders. Nah, I'm gonna have to go through and do some additional embroidery or work to cover up the back, but that's okay. I can do that. Just means a little extra effort on my part, and for my kids, I'm willing to expend a lot of effort because they're worth it, and they deserve to know that they're worth it. Yep, the tip of this needle is already bending. Okay. So I think here in just a couple, I'm going to go ahead and take a quick break while I go and get a better needle, which should be here in the same room. I just have to grab my sewing kit instead of my embroidery kit. Or cross-stitch kit, I guess is what it is. Sorry, my nose is all sorts of itchy. Okay, so here. I'm going to try to at least finish the kitty cat, though. And then show you guys how it looks. Come on, you. Okay. I joked with my roommate. I was like, yeah, I'm going to be giving the boys ugly ornaments in particular as a Christmas gift every year, and this year I'm going to hand make them, because what could be uglier than something I handmade? And he laughed, but we all know that I make a lot of really great things, and I really should be trying to stop with the self-deprecating humor. It's not good for people's mental health to tear themselves down, even if it is meant as a joke. I am trying right now to get that across to my partner, who's having a lot of mental health struggles right now. So I really should be a better example about that and not do it to myself. However, I also recognize that as a teenager, I did not appreciate the handcrafted things that my mother made nearly as much as I should have. I appreciate them much more now that I'm older and make things myself. And so I assume that my kids also probably don't appreciate the amount of time and effort that goes into handcrafted goods, because most kids don't. Not until they get older and start making things on their own. And then they start to realize, oh wow, my parent really worked hard to make me the stuff that they make me. Which is good. I mean, it's cool. I do not begrudge them the time it takes for them to come to that realization. We all know that we as kids were probably not the greatest kids. We all made mistakes. We all did things we shouldn't have. It's part of growing up. One ear. This is turning out very cute, if very tiny. I don't think even I realized it was going to be this small. I do think I'm going to... Okay. One of the things with cross stitch is you should always try to go and make certain that your stitches go the exact same direction every time. So if you start with one direction, then you need to continue with that direction. Okay. Very cute, very tiny. Okay, give me just a sec. I'm going to place it on. Be right back. I'm going to go and get an actual metal needle. Switch out the needles on this. Probably just toss these two tiny plastic ones that are very bad at what I'm using them for. So one moment, I'll be back in just a second. Okay, I am coming back, and there we go. So I got this sewing kit as a gift from the friend that I went and stayed with, and they'd found it, including all of the embroidery floss, thread, etc. that was in it, as a curbside special, as we always called them. And she was like, well, I know that Mason sews a lot, so let me go ahead and give him this curbside special I found and see if it will serve his purposes, and thus far it has. It even had like little buttons. It has a great big tapestry needle that came with it, which is very nice, very handy. I'm real quick digging through it to see if I can find the needle threader that I know I saw, because the needle I found for it that I'm going to be using is much smaller than the metal ones, or the wooden ones. And that's a seam ripper, not a needle threader. Yeah. This is a tapestry needle, by the way. They're big. Also had some very tiny and delicate crochet hooks that are for lace making, which I don't really do lace. That's another seam ripper. I don't really do lace work, but who says I won't start sometime? It does need to be relined, but that's not really that hard a task. I will probably use something other than the current cardboard that it was lined with when I do eventually reline it. No real need to use cardboard when you can use other things that are better for such tasks. That's a bit of trash thread. Okay. Now for the moment, it does not appear to have a needle threader in it. That's fine, I can figure something out. Let's see, that goes in there, I don't need that. Seam rippers can go back in. Does need a new hinge and a new latch, but that's not a big issue either. Those are easy fixes. Okay. By the way, for anyone who is watching, I can see and respond to messages. So if you have questions about what I'm working on, how I'm doing things that I'm doing, etc., feel free to ask. I will happily answer. Okay, so first things first, we're going to remove this current needle from our current thread. Okay, see, got that off. Right, now I'm going to try and thread this, but it's going to be really, really tricky. Let's see. We'll see. Did I just... No, it's up there. Okay. Possibly not so fun fact for those of you who are not crafters: if a crafter ever makes you anything, gives you anything, especially if it is done by a needle crafter, there is very likely some of their saliva on it, because we have a tendency to what threads to make them go through the eye of the needle more easily. I promise, it's more sanitary than you think. It's just a standard thing. So, okay. Now, let's go back to our page. There's the preference. Oh, crud. Does this thing really want me to do French knots? I really don't want to do French knots. Page 30. Hi, hon.
Hi, hon. Are you done?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it wants me to do French knots. Ugh. Okay, that's fine. I have to. Okay. That's okay. I can do it. I just don't want to, because, look. But it will add interest to the piece, so. Doable and worthwhile. Just annoying. Okay, so we're gonna move. Let's see. We need 11 stitches. Right, this is 10 tall. So if I do this French knots, how many wide does it want to? Hold on a sec. Right, it is 8 wide, so at least 2 out, so that I can just frame the whole kitty with them. Okay. So if I start at the bottom, I'm going to go 1 more down. Oh no, that's 20. That's 20 tall. Okay. Let's do from there. Okay, and I'm not going to do French knots because I hate them. So, crud. Okay. Let's go. From this one, okay. Right. Sorry, was doing some counting again. Okay. So let's go ahead. We're just going to do these 1 stitch at a time, and then I'll just go back and backfill all of the space around the cat with other stitches in other colors to cover up the thread that went around. So, 1. Oh yeah, it's already going much more smoothly with this actual needle instead of the tiny plastic thing. Okay. I should put this in my cross-stitch kit instead of in the sewing kit. Not that I do cross-stitch a lot. This is the first time I've done it in a very long time, is this past month. Because I got that cross-stitch kit that I used to make the gift for my roommate. Okay. There's 3. I need to do 1 up at the center. And then the 3 toe beans. Okay. We are making... Sorry, I was about to say we're making tracks, and then I went, oh yeah, we are actually. Dad jokes. My kids, actually, they enjoy them. Sort of. To a certain point of enjoy, let's phrase it that way. Is it really enjoying a joke if you respond to it with a groan? That's always been my question. I mean, I love puns, and I enjoy inflicting them on others, but I never know, do people actually enjoy them? Or do they just tolerate them? Up one from here, and over to right here. Ow. I don't know. I enjoy puns, but I don't know that others do. Who knows? Oh, that's cute. Okay. That's one little paw print. Okay, now, from there, I need to go up one, and 1, 2, from here, up 1, 2, 1, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so this will be the bottom of the pad of the next foot. Right. And like I said, the kid that this is for, he adores cats. Especially our black one, who has been in his life for longer than he's been alive. Because she is 15. She's 19 and he's 14, so... And we've had her since she was born. She was born just before my partner and I got married. She's the one that we were very worried about. We had to take her to the vet. Turns out she had hyperthyroidism. She now gets her meds twice daily. She hates them. She hates me for giving them to her. But she still loves me and cuddles me after she's absolutely certain I'm not going to give her a medicine. So... And she's putting weight back on, which is good. Very good. Sadly, I'm also putting weight back on, which... Now that the surgery's done, does it really matter that much? But at the same time, I worked really, really hard to lose weight, and I want to maintain within a certain range. And so I'm getting close to slipping outside that range again. Shouldn't be hard for me to get back where I want to be. It's primarily a matter of, hey, you need to go back to eating salads instead of junk food. Which, I mean, yeah. So, shouldn't be too hard a thing. Okay, so now I need to go up 1, over 2 again. Okay. There we go. Good job. Thank you for making noise.
Could make more.
You just did.
And more.
Okay, so, but yeah, I think he will appreciate this eventually, even if he doesn't now. 1 over... that one, okay. Thankfully, every one of these that I make is actually going to make it easier to make the next one. Because it basically leaves evidence of where to go next from the previous one. Okay, so that one. There. Up to there. No, one more up. So there. Okay. There. Now, the piece that I'm actually working from, the book actually suggests that you go back and basically remove all of the threads between the stitches, so you end up with an item that is just the stitches. Given this is plastic and doesn't have any threads to remove, that'd be kind of difficult. So I think I'm just going to crochet or cross stitch over all of those left behind threads and have it just be a single solid color piece with the little kitty paw prints in it, which means it's going to take longer than anticipated originally, but oh well, such is life. At least I found a needle that works a lot better, so it's going to take a lot less time once I finish. Once I finish these paw prints on as the framing of it, even if I only do them on 2 sides instead of all the way around, which was my initial plan, I'll show you guys, and then I'll probably end the stream there, and then I will show you guys the finished ornament next week, since it will probably take me the rest of tonight. I don't think you guys want to hear me sitting here and muttering to myself for literal hours as I'm working on it. So, up 1. And over 2. 1, 2. There we go. If my kiddo manages to come out here as I'm working on it, I thankfully can probably convince him it is a present for his little niece, so... one of his little nieces. He's got 2 little nieces. No, they're cousins, not nieces. He's not yet an uncle, though. That'll be coming pretty soon, given the age of his oldest cousin. Some parts of us are a little surprised he's not one already, because his oldest cousin has been a bit reckless, shall we say. I mean, what post-teen isn't, especially when they're brand new out of home. I was. I mean, I wore protection, but it was not. It was not wise. Right there. So let's double check. Yep. Yep, that's the right one. Okay. This might come very close to hitting the actual edge of the ornament itself. Well, we'll see. I'll know in a minute. Oof. Keep accidentally poking myself with the needle since I wasn't using a sharp one and now I am. It's okay. Wouldn't be the first time I've bled on a project. In fact, that happens a lot again with crafting. So, if you've ever received a handcrafted present, it probably has blood on it too. Especially if it was hand sewn. Less so if it was crocheted. Crochet, it's kind of hard to make yourself bleed because of the nature of the beast, as it were. Okay, so that one, then up one, and over two. Ooh, it's gonna be right at the edge. Cool. That is okay. Okay, that was where it is. I'm sure that this is far less fascinating than my normal things because I'm being so quiet, but there we go. I think it turned out really well. Okay, so do I continue from here? Or do I switch colors? Quite a few colors that I've got laid out and can be used. Certain ones, of course, I don't want to use because he doesn't like that particular color. He's very particular and does not like yellow at all. Well, he's not that particular. The only colors he really doesn't like are yellows, so, and oranges. And orange he can be okay with, but he doesn't like it as much as he does many other colors. Okay, so hold on a sec. How many out from this did I make my initial? So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 4 out. You know what? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do this the opposite way, effectively. So this is the very bottom. So we're gonna go. So this row. Right there. And in this case, we're working from the top of. So we actually need to go. Let's see. That stitch right there. So it needs to be down and over. Down 1 and over 2. So actually, right. Right. Here. Okay. Right. That's first toe bean. Part of why I'm getting so quiet is because there's a good chance I'm going to have to undo some of this. Right there is going to be our second toe bean. I'm just going to have to see how it looks before I make a decision on that. Third toe bean. Spousal unit likes this eucalyptus and tea tree soaking bath salt type thing, and I cannot stand the smell of it. And he just got out of the tub, and one of the munchkins then ran into the bathroom, and now I can smell it very strongly, and ugh. Okay, so like I said, almost done with this particular bit of stitching, and once I'm done with it, I will go ahead and show you guys, and I'll end the stream. But I want to at least get this one bit done so I can see if I'm going to have to move it before I end. Because if I do have to move it, I want to show you guys what it's like to rip things out of these. It's a lot more difficult than ripping out stitches from crochet. With crochet, you just kind of grab the end of your thread and pull. Because this is full of basically little knots, you have to unpick it bit by bit to get it all undone. It's a right pain in the tail, I can tell you that much. Worthwhile when you do it, because then you can fix things, and you don't have to like cut your thread or anything, unless you really screw up. Right, now the next one down. So from here, it's 7 over, and 1 down. Okay. Six, 7, 1. Am I sure it's 1 down? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 1 down, okay. If I'm doing it right, which there's always the risk I'm not. I'm running out of thread, so I'm going to swap to a new piece, which I guess this means I can at least show you guys how to do that. So, setting my needle down over here. This is what embroidery floss looks like on its own. There. Not very big. And what you have to do is you have to separate out 2 strands, which are, again, not very big. So you end up with something like this. You can see the original. Well, here, now you can see the original thickness, the 2 strands, which is this middle one, and then the 4 strands that remain. Also, when you're doing it, it helps to keep a hand on all 3 sections, because they will try to tangle with each other. They will try to tangle with themselves. And if you don't want to have to go through and unpick a ton of knots, just keep your hands on things. Okay. Another fun thing is, just like with sewing, you have to guess how much thread you're going to use. In this case, I used a lot more for this initial bit than I thought, but I'm almost done, aside from the little bit more paw prints, and of course making my initials and date and things like that. But let's see. So I think I'm just going to pull apart the 2 strands that I need. Then I will wrap up the black and set it aside for the next time I need it. Some people have really nice, tidy little bobbins. I just roll it up into a little round and set it aside. Okay, now this is what I've got, which has a lovely tangle, but that was easy enough to pull out, so. Okay. And yes, I am sliding down. I get shorter as things progress because this couch is prone to eating people. Something I have found over time is it's actually easier to hold the thread and push the needle onto it than it is to go the other direction. Okay. Now, after you have... Okay. My shirt is holding it now. After you have made your thing, you're going to want to tie a knot in the far end of your thread, the tail. Because that's how we're going to have that 2 strands that we can push back through. And there's a lot of people who will say things like, oh, you need to make certain that the front of your, or the back of your cross stitch or embroidery project looks just as good as the front. No, you don't. A lot of these get framed or hung on walls, so nobody's going to see the back. I'll show you here in a second just how the back of my projects tends to look. Yeah, not near as neat and tidy as the front. And that's okay. Seriously, people really don't care how the back looks unless they're just kind of jerks. Okay. Oh, that's what I should show you the back of, is one of the other projects. Okay, so... I love how I keep saying, oh, I'm going to end the stream at this point. I'm going to end the stream at that point. And then I don't. Okay, so... down... there. And over... same way I did the last one. It's just go through, pull through, and then make certain that you go into that space of the knot. Also, as a way to tack down the previous yarn tail, or thread tail, we're just going to carefully hold it so that our stitches from now on will go over it. And that way they will hold it down and we don't have to worry about things unraveling. Okay, so that's that one now. To here. Yes. Right. My chest has been really, really tight thanks to the surgery. So I'm having a lot of issues where, like, I have to pop my sternum. It can get kind of painful between pops, sadly. But, c'est la vie. It will eventually recover. It's just taking its time. Now, the point of these is kind of to not be the most attractive thing. They're supposed to be kind of ugly, so I'm kind of thinking of using, like, bright teal, or bright green and pink as the next bits, so... don't be surprised if when I eventually do show this off, it's got like really glaringly clashing colors. Because I'm I think I explained last time what I'm going for here. Um, the no, I might not have. Okay, there was this thing I saw that was basically, hey, so when my kids were little, made it a point to get them really, really ugly ornaments, or I started a thing where we would all get each other really ugly ornaments, and that way when my kids were grown up, they could have them for their first tree and they could start their own tradition of it. Well, that's kind of what I'm doing, is I'm going for really, like, tacky or ugly ornaments with the hopes that the kids will eventually appreciate the ridiculousness of it, you know. But ultimately it's going to be up to them, because they're their own people. What they like or dislike is up to them, things like that. But I still think that, at least for now, it'll be funny and cute if we do things like this. And, you know, they might decide when they're older and have their own kids, nah, we're not doing anything like that. It just clutters up the tree with ugly stuff. Or they might decide, hey, you know, that was a really fun thing that we did when we were kids. Let's go ahead and do it with our kids. And they might get an earlier start on it than I did. So, who knows? They will when they go off to their eventual leaving home, fleeing the nest, as it were, however you want to call it. They will be getting the very first things that I ever put on the Christmas tree after they were born, which are a pair of stuffed moose, one of them for each. So those will be going off with them to go on their first trees. I hope they like them. They enjoy putting them up now. I still haven't gotten the tree up. It's so hard right now with me being in pain and healing to do so many things, and so they're getting just kind of left by the wayside, and I feel bad about it, because the tree, you know, it's Christmas. Okay, I like how this is turning out. It's really cute. Okay, so... Right there. Let's see if I can't. Sorry, just noticed a bit of fuzz that was not. There we go. Okay, that's better. Primo Victoria. Starts. Alright. That's the first toe bean for this side. Meanwhile, you know, as I'm working on this, I'm not singing Christmas music or anything like that. No, I'm humming Sabaton's Primo Victoria. Because of course I am. Alright, so... Okay, new goal on this. I'm going to go ahead and get the last of the kitty cat paw prints done. And maybe add the stitching that's going in. After which I will then end the stream. Because I do really like how these paw prints are turning out, and I do want to kind of show that off. Okay, so... Okay. Alright. I think it's going to be really cute. And again, I really hope he likes it. If he doesn't, oh well, hit and miss. I am kind of miffed because certain things have not arrived yet that were supposed to be here by now. But the Postal Service is kind of wonky at the moment, and it is not their fault. It is the fault of people who were put in power because they were put in power specifically to try and destroy the Postal Service, and boy did they come close. We still have to see if it actually recovers. A certain party has been trying to kill the post office for a very long time because the post office, given it is a service, not a business, it does not make money for the U.S. government. It costs money. But the thing is, it's, again, a service, a public work. Therefore, it's not actually supposed to earn money. It's supposed to be there for the good of the public. But we can't have that, now can we? Why would we want anything that helps people instead of businesses? That's why we don't have universal health care, by the way. Because universal health care would help people instead of corporations. And a certain political party cares only about corporations and not about the people that are the ones voting for them, or the ones not voting for them. They don't care. They're not interested in the people. They're interested in money. And corporations bring them money because the corporations pay them kickbacks due to the help of lobbyists. And that's how you end up in situations like what we're in. Oh, look, Mason's talking politics again. Should Mason talk about animal ag again instead of politics? Who knows? Politics have been on my mind a lot lately. I was having to explain the current political situation in England to one of my kids last night. And he's like, why do you know about the political situation in England? Why do you care? And I had to explain that politics are a global thing. Even things that are happening in other countries, they do affect our country eventually. And the things that happen in our country affect other countries. The hatred and racism that is showing up in a lot of other countries now got its start here. Because a certain former guy legitimized that hatred. And so these other countries, these people in them that also hated certain people, went, oh, hey, if they're accepting it there, then maybe we will accept it here too. And so they started sharing those kind of views and still getting voted in, and now there's a nasty quagmire of racism, anti-Semitism, anti-immigration, all sorts of awful. And it's because of what started here with the former guy. I mean, certain of those sentiments have been around for much longer than the former guy, but they weren't taking root quite so effectively. There. Okay. Right. Doing toe beans, then doing one more pop pad, and I'll show you what we ended up with. I might use black for the stitching of the initials and stuff, because I've got a lot of it left. And I don't like having stuff left over. I hate wasting thread by not using as much of it as possible. That's not the right spot to put that through. There it is. Is that a weird thing? Thinking about, oh, I'm wasting thread, I better go back and do extra stuff that I hadn't intended to just to use it up? Probably. Let's face it, I'm weird. I've been weird. I've always been weird. It's nothing new. It's no real surprise. I just think I figured out what might be wrong with my stream's camera. I don't think it's my camera, because my camera shows things with color. I think it's the stream itself. I'll have to poke at that. But not right now, because right now I'm poking at plastic canvas with metal needle and thread. Yeah, I think I changed something about the transparency or something, so it showed up better during certain games I was playing, and I think that's what changed it. What the? Okay, what happened here? Ah, that's what happened here. Might be able to fix this. So I've run into one of the little things that can sometimes happen. There we go. Okay, fixed it. Sometimes your thread ends from a previous row will get knotted in to your current thread, and sometimes you have to unpick a few stitches to get that fixed. But I did. All better now. I just know I need to hold my hand on those to keep those from doing that again. I am on the last kitty footprint, and I am on the paw pad now. Got 3 more stitches to go on the paw pad. And then I will hold it up and show it to you, and then I get to decide on colors. Did have an interesting discussion recently regarding what constitutes appropriate presents, and how your cultural upbringing will shape that. Like, I was raised in a culture where handmade gifts were viewed with higher esteem, because the people making them and receiving them generally were the ones who knew just how much time and effort went into such tasks. Someone I was talking to views gift cards, and to me, note that, gift cards and things like that seem very impersonal, because, there we go, little kitty, little paw prints. Okay. And I just heard my kids are about to be coming through the room because they've got to do chores. So, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to end the stream. As I was saying, though, gift cards to me seem impersonal because they don't require as much thought, as much effort. But really, you know... So, it depends on your culture. As the person that I was speaking with about this pointed out, their culture money is viewed as a, here, I want you to make certain to get something you enjoy that you want, and therefore money is a perfectly acceptable gift. My culture that I was raised in, money feels impersonal, so that's why I tend not to give it. Un momento. Alright, Munchkin's ready to do their chores, so I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. I do want to thank you for joining me tonight. I hope that everyone has a great holiday season. I do intend to stream on Thursday as usual with my gaming stream, but I do want everyone to have a wonderful and safe holiday in the event you guys can't make it, and take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I'll see you next time.